Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Ask an Agent on Wednesday. We've actually moved these now to, I believe, every third Wednesday of the month, trying to get kind of back on a consistent schedule so we can answer some questions for you. And today is one of my favorite topics, actually. It is children in the business. As a mother myself who has children in this business, as an agent who reps children in the industry, this is always one of those things that we have a lot of obviously hopeful children entering the industry or trying to enter. And I think there's often very little guidance for parents on how to actually accomplish this and what you need to look for and what makes a good talent to work with, because then we're kind of clashing a little bit often with what your vision is and then what the reality of our business is. So that's why I really thought this would be an important topic to go over. So I think that I'm just going to go right into it. And just again, this is your time. It doesn't matter which system you are joining us from. You can actually comment while the live is going on, and I will see the questions right here in the inbox, and I will try to answer them. If you have questions down the road, just make sure go on that same link and put that in the comment section, and I'll try to address it. At least until we do the next Facebook Live, at which we probably do not go back into the old ones. So, children in the business. Uh, this is, I probably get a phone call at least every day or every other day of a parent or grandparent or friend of the family who just gets, stopped on the street all the time, and their child is getting a lot of attention and should be a superstar, and they're really lively and they're cute and they're this and that. I think especially for children anyway, most children are cute, or a lot of children are cute. What we look for more is not just the talent, but also the support system that the child finds itself in. So when we look at children that are being submitted to us, we look at a number of we're a very commercial and print state, so we look at what do they look like, what are their stats, are they short or tall, for their age range, will they fit what that age range asks for when it comes to products, clients, advertisers, whatnot, what they're looking for. Do they fit those specs? If they're young actors or teen actors, how much training do they have? Is there a need in the market for this particular talent? And then at our agency, we very much focus too on what is who's taking care of the career of this child, who's the main person that we will be working with when we interview children. We always do this with a child and the parent that is going to be or if it's somebody else, a family member, that's going to be the main person, um, taking care of casting, self tapes, getting them to set, from set, because really when you put children in the industry, you're not just signing up your child. There's a person that has to be there with them at all times until they turn 18. So this is really not just something that the kid can do on its own. You have to definitely have a support system to make sure that you can participate properly and give them the best chances of actually booking. But we get a lot, and this is probably, it may sound a little harsh because a lot of, kids are kids and we want our kids to have fun and we want obviously to give opportunities, but you have to realize that this is an industry that's our livelihood. So from the agency side, this is our livelihood. So my livelihood cannot be your hobby. And this is something I say very often. It may sound a little harsh, but at the end of the day, you have to realize that there are real people behind this that are also trying to make a living, that are maybe also parents and whatnot, that have to figure out. So if a client comes to me, like let's say H&M, and they're asking me for this and this, we need this many children, this age range, have to spit specifically these sizes because that's what the sample sizes are. That is the information that I then have and I have to work on. And we submit our children that fit that criteria, that fit the look that they're looking for. As a parent on your end, you would then have to make sure that pictures are updated, that we're working with the proper sizes. Kids grow every month, they change every month. We get that, but it's just a lot of work, especially if you have multiples in the industry, multiple children, to update all of this stuff. So when we originally look at a new submission, we just look at, can we work with this talent? Do we think we can procure work? Do we like the relationship between child and parent? a lot of times when we go into our Zoom calls, it's Zoom now for the last 2 years. I will try to talk to child, and then a parent actually overtalks them and doesn't give them the opportunity to actually speak. You may not realize that you're doing this, but this actually, for me, is probably a signal that maybe I can't work with this particular set of family, only because when you're on set, you don't get to dictate or orchestrate that set. They have to be able to listen to someone else. So we kind of watch for these little, signs of what the relationship is like, and if parents are parents that we want to actually work with. We've had, a few instances where people submit it and they don't understand why we don't take their kids, and they get very, almost, I would say, like, angry that we just opt to maybe not go that route. Look, there are different parts to this, a lot of moving parts to this. Do we maybe already have kids that look like your child? Do we think that there's an actual opportunity for them to work? If we don't think that we have a lot of opportunity here, what is the point in taking them on, and and starting this, and then just have a frustrated parent at the end of the day that doesn't see their child going on any casting and any requests. um, a lot of times we have parents that have a different opinion or vision for their, opinion of what their child can do, and a vision for what they want out of this, that doesn't match what we think is going to be our reality. And at that point, it doesn't make any sense to engage this. If we think that maybe they're just not ready yet and we can do something in the future, we get that information. But we've had parents where we did bring on the child and then nothing changed. Like, all of our advice wasn't listened to, nothing, really changed in their behavior, and that makes it very difficult for us to move forward with, and then we release. So I'm just giving you, this is probably kind of more the negative side of it, but these are all points that we look at. So it's very labor intensive on our end to bring each talent on. There are a lot of meetings, lots of paperwork, lots of just getting kits out there. A lot of times, it takes sometimes a year to actually start booking, because you have to you're kind of going through the process and figuring out what works and what doesn't work. Um, so that's kind of that side of it. And I'm sorry, I have some notes here. I'm going to keep on, like, checking. I went over. Do you have a responsible party to do this with your child? This could be a parent, this could be a grandparent, this could be a family friend. As long as you have somebody designated to kind of go through this with your child, that's what we look for. I mean, I would say I have my oldest son that's been in the industry for a while, and tons of acting training and whatnot. It took us a good year to actually produce great self tapes together, because all of a sudden I wasn't just mom, I wasn't just agent, I also was kind of coaching him through the self tape process. So it took us a minute, initially, to kind of get this going, and produce great tapes. And I would say it was about a year, and all of a sudden it clicked that I wasn't just mom and reprimanding him, but that I was also somebody that was trying to get the best out of him for these tapes so that we can submit them in. So you want to kind of find that mojo with your child as you move along in this industry. Let's say everything is great. You check all the boxes. We meet with you. We love you. We love your child. We see a great relationship. We think that we can add, to the pot. We think we can make some things happen for you. Like, what's next? So for us, we always need updated materials. This means headshots. If they've been in the industry for a while, resume. If they want to go into the acting side of it, they definitely need to start getting into acting training. Some of the places will take kids as young as 4. Now, do I think that, film training for a 4-year-old is going to be super intense? No. I mean, their attention span is, I don't know, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. So usually classes tend to be shorter, but definitely I think for children, if you're putting a lot of time into this and really want this to happen, it's just such a great training to go through, so they can learn camera presence. What do I need to look at? How, most of the sets are adults. How do I work with adults? Uh, they just learn all these things really about their own presence when it comes to our industry. And as they get older, you can continue adding to that training. But it's something that for our film kids, definitely we wouldn't even look at a child for acting ability if they don't have any kind of training. For commercial and print, I think that's a little bit more open. I don't think they necessarily need that, but I find that the more training they have in film, the better they book all across the board for any of the other projects. So that's just something to consider. Every agency is different. They are, especially in Florida, since we're so big on commercial and print, there are a lot of print agencies that don't really require this, and they may just be looking for a different type of talent pool. Just because they're looking for this kind of talent pool and we're looking for this kind of talent pool doesn't make them non-legit or us non-legit. It's just we have different clients. We know our clients needs, and that's who we service, and that's really what we. At the end of the day, if we don't book, we don't make any money. This is all for naught. Again, this is my livelihood. Don't make it your hobby, please. Um, you know, um, with children, especially children grow so fast. I have every once in a while, I'll call someone and the kid says 3'2" and they're 7 years old. Obviously, this hasn't been updated in some time, and I'll reach out to a parent and, hey, can you please update and also update the picture? Oh, well, they look exactly the same. And I'm like, well, how can a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old look exactly the same? There's a little bit of a disconnect. So really, especially now going into this digital age where often don't even get the opportunity to meet people face to face. And I don't know, if that's coming back or not. For some of the print clients, they do still see everyone in person because they have to obviously make sure they can interact with the camera. But for a lot of commercial castings now, it's self tape. And I think if you're just investing into all this time, like taking a child somewhere, taking them to training, doing this, doing that, make sure that all their material is updated. Make sure their stats are updated. You could really go through a lot of stuff, like self tape this and that, and then they show up for the callback, and the child is 6 inches shorter than maybe the older brother. I'm sorry, the younger brother. That is supposed to portray their counterpart because you're going by the stats that they were giving and given in this casting system. So we would hate for something like that to get so far and you're almost there booking it, or you've booked it and now you're there, or you're in the callback and you're almost about to book this, and then the stats that they were given don't really work out, and they remove something last minute from set, which can totally. So update all the materials. Make sure you have a great headshot. If you want your child to be in film, make sure there's film training, a film headshot. If it's commercial, we need a commercial headshot. If it's print, we need some kind of test shoot that shows what your child looks like on camera. Make sure everything's always updated. I would say minimum once a year, you should update everything. If you have, like my 13-year-old just had like a 6-inch growth spurt in the last year. So he even throughout the stages obviously looked a little bit different each time and just really grown up a lot right now. I couldn't submit his pictures from a year ago, even they're only a year old, only because he doesn't even look the same. So make sure that you keep all of this updated. Make sure you frequently connect with your agent. So let me just also elaborate on that. So connecting with your agent, checking in is totally fine. Or if you feel like, hey, we've gotten a lot of submissions, but this is not producing anything for us. What could we be doing? What do we need to change? Maybe then we need to, schedule time and look at profiles and whatnot and go over what can be added. Make sure you're really clear on your child's abilities. I remember we had once like a big soccer thing. I can't remember. I think it was for Reebok. And so I put it out and I got all these soccer kits back. Everybody played soccer. All of a sudden, my whole crew played soccer. Then the client gave us a self-tape request and said, hey, this is what they need to do with the ball. And this wasn't tricks or anything, of that nature, but it was definitely, they wanted real soccer players. And I have, a couple soccer players in my family, so I know what this looks like. And we started getting these tapes back, and it was very clear they've probably played soccer once or twice recreationally, like not even probably on a team. That's not a soccer player. That is an active kid. I would never submit my child as a soccer player if they don't know how to play soccer. If you're a horseback rider, then that needs to be clear. If you know how to surf, you didn't just do surf camp once for a week, like you know how to surf. So we have to be really clear on abilities. It also, I think that's where the mom side comes in again too. I wouldn't want to put my child into a situation where they're constantly be asked to do things that they actually don't know how to do. I think that can be very damaging. Sometimes you can fake something a little bit and make it work if it works, but you have to be really clear on their abilities and what they're being asked to do and what the shot calls for, so that you can put your child in that situation. Also, you can put your agent in that situation, because my job is to make sure that you are truthful in their abilities. They're giving this to us so that we can collect people or submit people that would work for their project. So my job is to make sure that this is understood on both sides, and then we send it back to them. So it puts both of us really in jeopardy if something like this happens and they have to bring or like something new in, because as you know, the one talent is just a tiny, tiny part of a major production. There's so many moving pieces with this. There's so many people involved. Definitely want to make sure is that we always show up with our best game face on. So, um, one other thing that I kind of want to discuss is, listen to your children. Like, are they loving this business? Do they want to do more? Do they want to do less? Is maybe, may sometimes kids get into it when they're 4 or 5. Really great age is actually like 3 to 5, and then we love 8 to 12 as well. In the middle, we have a little bit less opportunities, but it's still, if your child is 5 or 6 or 7, it's still a great time to get into the industry, get their feet wet. But the big booking years for us have typically been 3 to 5 and 8 to 12. um, Listen to your child. Like, do they actually enjoy this industry? Do they want to do more? Do they want to do less? um, I have a son that's on kind of playing on 2 travel soccer teams right now, plus I work full time. So how realistic is it for me to bring him everywhere? Luckily, a lot of this has changed to self-tape, and only the fittings and the callbacks and the testing are things that we need to kind of address around our schedule. But be realistic about like what they're doing and what they can do and what kind of projects you want to get into, and make sure that don't burn them out and give them enough time to kind of go from one thing to the next. If they're in school and in sports in the evenings and games on the weekends, maybe that's not the best time to get your child into the industry. I mean, we get this a lot where literally I'll go through the whole meeting, we talk about it. Yes, 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 we can do this. And then, every time they have an opportunity, well, I can't get off work, I don't have anybody to take them. um, are don't they can't they shoot on nights and weekends? Like, nobody wants to shoot on nights and weekends. There may be a shoot on the weekend, but we can't onboard and start a relationship with someone that's only available on the weekends. Like, that just doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. There may be a smaller agency, newer agency, or maybe a manager that you can try and that would be willing to work with you on that. But honestly, any of the agencies that have full-time talent, I just don't think it's feasible. So be realistic, because you also don't want to burn your kid out of the industry. Okay. Um, I think that's kind of it. I think last but not least, I feel like children especially are targeted, I think, in a sense, by companies who are really trying to profit off their wishes and dreams. One thing that I really want to throw out there too is please just be cautious. Like, anything that's too good to be true is probably too good to be true. If you're paying thousands of dollars for camps and training and this and that, there are, and I'm not saying that there isn't anybody legit in that price range. It's just talk to your agency and see if this is, whatever you're getting into is something that's worth it. I think, submitting your child to any agency is free. It's literally free. You get your stuff together, start doing some research the different agencies, see what they have on their website, on their social media, the kind of children that they represent. There are so many great Facebook groups that you can get into and just ask for, referrals and recommendations. Like, I know for us, we have obviously a lot of different places that we like to work with because we know they're great. They charge the right prices. The kids get out of it what we need them to get out of it. Communicate, ask around anything that's like, you pay us this much, we'll get you there and there. I just feel like is maybe not the best way to go. And we've gotten a lot of people, and I don't want to name places, but that literally would go through like a million modeling classes and having their pictures taken, and by that same company, and then supposed to be placed by them and all this other stuff. And now all of a sudden they're out like two, three, $4,000. You may get something out of it. That's up to you. If that's the experience you want to pay for, go for it. I would never tell you not to do that. If your child's having fun with it and you have the funds, go for it. But just realize that most agencies, especially for kids, we like to, unless they're experienced kids, like actually working kids, we like to receive digitals. We'd like to be part of the process of what kind of pictures need to be taken, what kind of classes they should probably maybe take. We'd like to be part of that process because we also don't want them to learn anything that they don't need, or maybe don't even learn it the right way. So that's just my voice of caution, I guess, if you want to call it that. Just be careful. It's just they're your children. Like, just yeah, be knowledgeable and know where to check and what resources you have access to. And then my very last thing, just because obviously Florida has had a recent crazy spike of COVID again, which then cautioned a lot of sets to be extra careful. Make sure you're kind. Let's all be kind to each other. Agents right now aren't just meeting talent and developing talent and procuring work and submitting and clearing or whatever. I feel like lately we're just like COVID experts. Like I think I know 50 places now you can go get tested. We have home nurses on call. We have, we'll book a project. We've done all the work, and then maybe it's booked at a home of someone that just came down with COVID. So now they have to switch location. We have to, for 3 days later, because that's the next place that they could book. Now we have to get COVID tested again. We're arranging a lot of different things. Please be kind. Like we're just trying to get through this as well as everyone else. And we obviously also want to make sure that sets are safe. And this isn't, a COVID statement. This is just a statement of there have been so many layers of work added for all of us throughout the workday. We try to, just work with it and make sure to keep you guys safe and keep going. We don't want our industry interrupted in general. So if we're asking for a vaccination card, this isn't pro or against vaccination. This is, a lot of sets now are requiring this. We booked a job recently for a big commercial that then ended up shooting in a country that recently changed that, their rules to only vaccinated people can enter. So now we had this job booked. Everybody's done the work, but half the town weren't vaccinated. And there's nothing I can do about this. They're just then going to go ahead and replace with vaccinated town because otherwise you can't enter that country. So this is not us. This is not the brand. This is not production working on it. These are the requirements that were given to us by, an outside source that had the right to say yes or no. So it is what it is. Thank you again. If anybody has any questions, make sure you put it in the chat box, in the comment box. Happy to go over it. And thank you so much for your time. And we appreciate you. All right. Happy New Year. And hopefully this only moves onward and upward in our world today. Thanks. Bye.